Hello, student. Today we are going to continue the chapter that we started in the previous class. Land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife. In the previous class, we learned the meaning of land resource and soil and how important are these resources to us and how can we conserve these resources. These are what we learned in previous class. And today we are going to continue with one of the important and rare resource called water. So let's begin with some fact and figure about water. Water is made up of one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atom. So we know components of water. Then let's see about the consumption of water. In 1975, the consumption of water for human use was 3,850 cubic kilometer per year, but it soared to more than 6,000 cubic kilometer per year in the year 2000. This means that consumption of water by the human being is increasing very fastly. So what are the reasons for this? Number one is consumption is increasing due to the increasing population. And number two is we are using more water than what we need. In our modern society, our lifestyle, we consume more water. So these are some of the reasons for increasing consumption of water. And this important resource is wasted. See, a dripping tap wastes 1,200 liters in a year. That means we are not taking care of water while we are using this important resource. So keep in mind, we should be very careful in using this important resource. So after you know about this component of water and increasing consumption of water and their reasons, next we have some other important fact to remember, to know. Water is a vital renewable resources. Renewable resource means it can renew after being used. So water is a vital, renewable, natural resources. How this water is renewed? Water is renewed through the process of water cycle. When heat is given to the water bodies, it is converted into gases, and this gases called water vapor present in the air form clouds after condensation, and then this water come again to the earth surface in the form of rainfall or snowfall. So we know water is renewed through the process of hydrological cycle. And 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered with water. That means we have lot of water on the earth's surface. And because of this, our planet is also known as water planet. It was in the primitive oceans that life began almost 3.5 billion years back. and fresh water account for only 2.7%. Even though we have lot of amount of water on the earth's surface, usable fresh water is only 2.7%. And out of this 2.7%, we have 70% of this remain as ice sheet and glacier in Antarctica, Greenland, and mountain regions. This means that this 2.7% fresh water all are not available for usability. 70% remain as ice sheet. And only 1% of fresh water is available and fit for human use. That means that this fresh water is a very rare and precious resource for we human beings. It is found as groundwater. This 1% is found as groundwater, as surface water in rivers and lakes, and as a water vapor in the atmosphere. So 1% is available for human utilization. Then after we know this water is a very precious and rare natural resource, we have problems of water availability that is faced everywhere in the world. So see, there is scarcity of water in many regions of the world. Most of Africa, West Asia, South Asia, Western USA, Northwest Mexico, part of South America, and entire Australia are facing shortage in freshwater availability. This means that each and every part of the world is having this problem of shortage of water. And countries located especially in climatic zones most susceptible to drought face great problems of water scarcity. This problem of water scarcity is serious in this area of the world where rainfall is less. Thus, water shortage may be a consequence of variation in seasonal or annual precipitation, or the scarcity is caused by overexploitation and contamination of resources. After we all know there is shortage of water everywhere in the world, that's what we know as water scarcity, then what are the causes for this? This is caused by this seasonal annual precipitation variation, or because of overexploitation, that means we are using more than what we need, and contamination of water resources or pollution of water resources. Unwanted substances are mixed with water and then fresh water become unfit for human utilization. So these are the problems. After we know these problems in water availability, next we have the most important part, that is conservation of water resources. After we know the importance and uses of water and the problem in availability, then how can we conserve these water resources? The first one I would like to say here is access to clean and adequate water Shortage is a major problem facing in the world today, and the charge of untreated or partially treated sewage, agricultural, chemical, and industrial effluents in water bodies are major contaminants. And most of these chemicals, being non biodegradable, reach human bodies through water. So, these are some of the, what to say, this one, pollutants which cause pollution in water. And water pollution can be controlled by what? What can we do to stop this water pollution? Water pollution can be controlled by treating these effluents suitably before releasing them in water bodies. Then, next, water is used for irrigating fields. The canals should be properly lined to minimize losses by water seepage. Sprinklers effectively irrigate the area by checking water losses through seepage and evaporation. In dry regions with high rate of evaporation, drip or trickle irrigation is very useful. So the valuable water resource can therefore be conserved by adopting these means of conservation. So these are some of the methods to be adopted so that we can control water pollution and water availability. Next we have natural vegetation and wildlife. After water, the next important natural resource is natural vegetation and wildlife. So let's begin this with the definition of biosphere. Natural vegetation and wildlife exist only in the narrow zone of contact between the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere that we call biosphere. So we have this natural vegetation and wildlife in the biosphere only. So in the biosphere, living beings are interrelated and interdependent on each other for survival. One is helping another to survive together. This life supporting system is known as ecosystem. So the system of interrelation between each other, maybe the living or non-living, is what we know as ecosystem. This vegetation and wildlife are very useful and valuable resource. There are innumerable uses of plants. Wildlife includes animals, birds, insects, as well as the aquatic life forms. And they also very useful to us. They provide us milk, meat, hides, and wool, some of the basic needs of the human being. And insects like bees provide us honey, help in pollination of flowers, and have an important role to play as decomposer in the ecosystem. So everyone is playing their role to survive together. So the bird feed on insect and act as decomposer as well. So animals big or small all are integral to maintaining balance in the ecosystem. Small insect, plants or big animals all are playing their role in maintaining this balance of ecosystem. Everyone is equally important in. Then we need to conserve this natural vegetation and wildlife as they are important to us. There is a balance in the environment if the relative number of species is not disturbed. If disturbed, then there is imbalance and it can create lot of problems, especially to human being. Due to this indiscriminate killing, several birds and animals have they either become extinct or are on the verge of extinction. And this is because of the human being. If there's several birds and animals extinct, then that will affect our life very badly. So, many countries have passed laws declaring that the trade as well as killing of birds and animals are illegal. And various conservation methods of plants and animals were introduced, and that become duty of every citizen. These are some of the steps taken up by people to conserve this natural vegetation and wildlife. So you can see here important animals, wildlife, and changes of climate and human interference can cause the loss of natural habitats for the plant and animals. It is very important not only human being, climate also play important role in the loss of this natural habitats for the plants and animals. Human being clear the forest, that means habitat loss for the plants and animals. And climatic phenomenon like volcanic eruption, earthquake, landslide, these are also causing natural habitat loss for the plants and animals. Many species have become vulnerable or endangered, and some are on the verge of extinction because of this human and the climatic interference. And some of the example here we have deforestation, soil erosion, constructional activities, forest fires, tsunami, and landslide are some of the human-made and natural factors which together accelerate the process of extinction of these great natural resources. So the animals are poached for collection and illegal trade of hide, skin, nail, teeth, horns as well as feeder. To get these items like hide, skin, nails, teeth, horns, feeders, we poach animals, hunt animals illegally, and that is one of the cause for extinction of many animals. And some of the natural phenomenon, because of that many life form loss or many natural vegetation and wildlife loss, as well as many incident because of that loss of wildlife occur. You can see here as California fire rage for 4th day and hope rests on wind easing. And then the California fell to a natural disaster. These are some of the examples. Then I come to the important words meaning of the chapter, weathering, national park, biosphere reserve. Weathering means breaking off and decay of exposed rock due to the changes in temperature and alternate extraction and contraction of rock or frost actioned animal, plants, man. Because of that, rock become broken down. This is what we know as weathering. National park means a natural area designated to protect the ecological integrity of one or more systems for present and future generations. Biosphere reserve, series of protected areas linked through a global network intended to demonstrate the relationship between conservation and development. So with this, I end the chapter here. Thank you all.